The garden hose erupted like a venomous snake, ice-cold water slamming into my father's chest with the force of a betrayal he never saw coming. "You think you're above the rules here, soldier boy? Salute the flag like the rest of us patriots," the woman shrieked, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair unmoved by the chaos she'd unleashed, as if her rage was just another accessory to her pearl necklace. In that frozen instant, as Dad staggered back, soaked and stunned under the July sun of our sleepy Ohio suburb, I realized this wasn't just about a flagpole skirmish anymore. It was the spark that would burn down everything I thought I knew about home, heart, and the man I'd spent my life trying to measure up to. I lunged forward before my brain caught up, my sneakers skidding on the dew-slick grass of the HOA picnic grounds. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I roared, grabbing the hose from her manicured grip and twisting the nozzle shut, water spraying wild like confetti from hell. The crowd, neighbors I'd waved to at barbecues, folks who'd shared casseroles after Mom's funeral, gaped in a circle, phones already out, capturing the meltdown like it was the latest viral outrage. Dad, George Harlan to the world, but just Pops in the quiet moments, straightened up slowly, his faded Army Ranger's jacket clinging transparently to his broad shoulders, the silver eagle insignia on his collar gleaming mockingly under the droplets. He didn't yell back. He never did. Instead, he locked eyes with me, that steady blue gaze saying more than words ever could. "Steady, son. We faced worse. But this was personal." Evelyn Evie Cartwright, self-appointed HOA queen of Willow Creek Estates, had been gunning for Dad since he moved back from his last deployment 3 years ago. Widowed at 22 when a roadside bomb in Fallujah claimed Mom, I'd grown up in the shadow of his service. The folded flag on our mantel, the Purple Heart gathering dust in a drawer, the nightmares that woke him at 3 a.m. with shouts I pretended not to hear. We'd scraped by on his pension and my gig as a barista at the corner coffee shop, finally affording this cookie-cutter house on the edge of Cincinnati, where the American dream came wrapped in vinyl siding and covenants thicker than the Bible. Evie hated anything that didn't fit her Stepford script. Unmowed lawns, unwashed cars, and especially those types who didn't snap to attention for her weekly flag raisings. Dad, with his quiet disdain for performative patriotism, had skipped one too many. "You're assaulting a veteran," I shouted, shoving the hose toward the ground as Evie snatched it back, her face twisting into that fake tear mask politicians pull on camera. "He didn't salute? It's a damn picnic, not boot camp." The murmurs rippled. Old Mr. Jenkins muttering agreement, the young moms clutching their kids closer. Sirens wailed distant. Someone must have dialed 911 already. Dad placed a hand on my shoulder, firm but gentle, the kind that grounded me through every high school heartbreak and college dropout regret. "Mason, easy," he murmured, voice low like gravel under tires. "She's not worth the ink on the report." But Evie wasn't done. "This community's about respect. Your father's a disgrace. Limping around like he owns the place, parking that rust bucket truck in the guest spot. And you?" Her eyes raked over me, lingering on the rainbow pin I'd started wearing on my lanyard last Pride, the one I'd hidden from Dad until last month. "You're no better parading your lifestyle like it's normal." The word hung like smoke, choking the air. My stomach dropped. I'd come out to him over lukewarm meatloaf 2 weeks ago, bracing for rejection, but he just nodded, squeezed my hand, and said, "You're my boy, Mace. Always. No sermons, no ultimatums. Just that." Now, as the first cop car crunched gravel into the lot, Evie's venom cracked the fragile peace we'd built. I wanted to deck her, to unleash the fury I'd bottled since burying Mom, but Dad's grip tightened. "Let it go," he said again, but his voice cracked, just a hair, and that's when I saw it. The exhaustion in his eyes, the weight of wars abroad and battles at home he'd never admit were breaking him. The officer, a burly guy named Ramirez who'd coached my little league team, stepped out, notepad in hand. Evie launched into her tirade, hose clutched like a trophy, while Dad stood silent, water pooling at his boots. By the time the cuffs clicked on her wrists, simple assault, Ramirez called it, with witnesses lining up to corroborate, the picnic was a circus. News vans rolled up by dusk, HOA horror. Veterans soaked in suburban spat, splashed across local feeds. Dad shrugged it off with a towel and a beer on our porch swing, but I couldn't shake the chill. That night, as crickets hummed and fireflies danced like lost souls, I sat beside him, the silence heavy with unsaid things. "Pops," I started, voice barely above whisper. "Why didn't you fight back?" He took a long pull from the bottle, staring at the stars like they held dispatches from old foxholes. "Because fighting the wrong battles leaves you hollow, son. Seen it too many times." His hand found mine again, calluses rough from years of shouldering rifles and regrets. "This one's yours now. Make it count." Little did I know that one would unravel us both, drawing in a stranger who'd steal my breath, shatter my walls, and force me to choose between the father I idolized and the love I craved. Willow Creek was about to learn that some salutes weren't meant for flags, but for the hearts we bury deepest. The fallout hit like a monsoon. By morning, our inbox overflowed. Interview requests from Fox affiliates, GoFundMe links from sympathetic vets, and hate mail from Evie's echo chamber calling Dad a woke warrior and me a groomer. I fielded calls from the coffee shop, where my boss, Tina, a chain-smoking ex-hippie with tattoos older than me, barked, "Kid, you're famous. Take the day, but don't let it go to your head." Famous, right? More like infamous in a town where, bless your heart, masked a shank. Dad retreated to the garage, tinkering with his truck like it was therapy. I watched from the kitchen window, nursing black coffee, the rainbow pin glinting defiantly on my chest. At 25, I was adrift. No degree after flunking out of community college, no boyfriend since that messy split with Jamie last fall. He'd bolted when his evangelical folks found our texts, and no clue how to shield Pops from the circus. But then the doorbell rang, and everything tilted. He stood there in khakis and a button-down that hugged his frame just right, dark hair cropped military short, green eyes sharp as emeralds under the porch light. "Mason Harlan? I'm Ryan Keller with the ACLU's Veterans Rights Division." Saw the clip. Hell of a story. His smile was easy, disarming, like he'd walked out of one of those craft beer ads where everyone's brooding but genuine. Handshake firm, palm warm, too warm, sending a jolt up my arm I hadn't felt since. Well, since Jamie, but deeper. Inside, over Dad's famous chili, spice just shy of lethal, Ryan laid it out. Pro bono suit against the HOA for harassment. Maybe a countersuit for emotional distress. "Evie's got a history," he said, flipping through notes on his tablet. "Lawsuits from 3 other boards. It's gold, exposes the rot in these gated fiefdoms." Dad grunted approval from his armchair, but his eyes flicked to me, curious, like he sensed the current humming between us. Ryan caught it too, his gaze lingering on mine a beat too long, that smile edging toward something electric. We talked late, about Dad's tours in the sandbox, Ryan's own service as a JAG officer in Afghanistan before law school, the hypocrisy of support the troops bumper stickers that vanished when vets needed real help. "I get it," Ryan said, leaning forward, elbows on knees, voice dropping. "The system's rigged against guys like your dad. And you, standing up like that, takes guts, or stupidity." Either way, his words landed like a lifeline, pulling me from the undertow. He left his card, "Call if you need anything." But it was the way he brushed my shoulder on the way out, casual but charged, that replayed in my head all night. Sleepless, I scrolled his firm's bio. Harvard Law, out and proud since undergrad, advocate for queer vets. My thumb hovered over his number. What if? The next week blurred. Depositions at the community center, where Evie sneered from across the folding table, her lawyer a weaselly type in a cheap suit. My client was defending American values, he droned, but Ryan dismantled him with precedents sharper than shrapnel. Free speech, veteran protections, even a nod to my pin as protected expression. Dad testified last, voice steady as he recounted the hose's sting, not just on skin but soul. "Ma'am, I saluted enough flags in 20 years to last a lifetime. Some days, surviving's the only salute that matters." Outside, as we packed up, Ryan clapped Dad's back. "You're a hero, George. For real." Then, to me, Quieter. Dinner? To celebrate the win. Not a question, really. My pulse thrummed. Yeah, I'd like that. That dinner stretched into hours at a dive Italian joint downtown. Red checkered tables and Chianti that loosened tongues. Ryan shared war stories, not the glory, but the grit. Losing a buddy to an IED, coming out to his squad under fire, the relief of being seen. Hiding it? Eats you alive, he said. Fork paused midair, eyes holding mine like a vow. I confessed the rest. Mom's ghost in every quiet house, Dad's unspoken grief mirroring mine. The fear that loving a man would fracture the only family I had left. He's cool with it, I admitted, swirling pasta. But cool and understanding? Worlds apart. Ryan reached across, fingers grazing mine, deliberate, testing. Then show him. Love's the bridge, Mason. Not the bomb. His touch lingered, warm and sure, igniting something dormant, a spark I doused with doubt. By dessert, tiramisu we shared, forks clinking like toasts. We were leaning in, knees brushing under the table, the world narrowing to his laugh, low and rumbling, like thunder over the Ohio River. Back home, Dad was waiting, TV flickering with some old western. "Good night," he asked, not prying but seeing. I nodded, cheeks hot. "Yeah, Pops. Real good." He studied me, then smiled. That rare, full one that crinkled his eyes. "Hold on to good, son. It's rarer than you think. But good doesn't last unchallenged in Willow Creek." Whispers started. Ryan's car in the driveway too often. My shifts cut at the shop after a customer grumbled about that fag barista. Evie, out on bail, escalated. Anonymous letters in our mailbox. Slashed tires on Dad's truck. Graffiti on our fence. Traitors not welcome. Ryan pushed the case harder. But off the record, he warned me. She's connected. Old money, city council ties. This could get ugly. Ugly came fast. A week later at the county fair, corn dogs and Ferris wheels masking the tension. Dad and I ran into Evie schmoozing with the mayor. She spotted us, wine glass sloshing, and launched, "George Harlan, still playing victim? And dragging your boy into your perversions." The crowd hushed. Dad's jaw set. But before he could respond, Ryan materialized. Hand on my lower back, possessive, protective. "Ms. Cartwright, that's defamation. Add it to the tab." She laughed, shrill. "Oh, the lawyer boyfriend? How quaint. Willow Creek's got standards, sweetie." The mayor chuckled awkwardly, but Ryan didn't flinch. Standards like assault? Or just bigotry with a side of Merlot? Flashbulbs popped, local press again, and Evie stormed off, but the damage stuck. Headlines twisted to vet's son in scandalous affair, painting Ryan as the outsider corrupting our wholesome town. That night, Dad confronted me in the kitchen, voice edged with something new: worry, maybe fear. "Mason, this Keller guy's stirring the pot. You sure about him?" I froze, spoon midway to my mouth. "Pops, it's not like that. He's helping us." But his eyes searched mine, haunted. Helping or using? I saw men like that in the service, charmers with agendas. "Don't let him break you open just to walk away." His words gutted me. Was that doubt in him? Or projection? The man who'd buried his wife, who'd marched through minefields for a country that forgot him. Afraid for me? I pulled him into a hug, fierce, feeling his ribs too prominent under the flannel. "I won't, Dad. Promise." But as he patted my back, murmuring "attaboy," I wondered if promises were just pretty lies we tell to keep the dark at bay. Ryan and I deepened anyway, stolen moments turning sacred. Hikes in the Shawnee Forest, where he traced the scars on my knuckles from a bar fight I never told Dad about. Lazy Sundays on his balcony overlooking the river, debating policy over craft IPAs, his head on my shoulder as rain pattered like applause. "You're it for me," he whispered one night, lips brushing my temple. No rush, just truth. I believed him, fiercely, foolishly, until the betrayal cracked it all. It started with a leaked email chain. Ryan's firm, pushing for a class action against HOAs statewide, using our story as the poster child. But buried in the attachments, Dad's medical records, PTSD diagnosis from the VA, notes on his instability post-mom's death, twisted to paint him as volatile. Ryan swore it was a hack, Evie's doing, but the damage bloomed. Dad's pension review flagged, neighbors crossing the street, and worst, a letter from the American Legion Post. Honorary membership revoked. Conduct unbecoming. Dad found me in the garage. Records scattered like shrapnel. Your boyfriend's fault? He asked, voice hollow. I shook my head, throat tight. No, Pops. Sabotage. But doubt crept in Ryan's late nights, vague calls. When I confronted him, he crumbled. Babe, I didn't leak it, but I did share the file internally. Thought it strengthened the case. Shared. Without asking. My world tilted. You weaponized his pain? For what? Your resume. His face fell, green eyes pleading. To fix this. For us. But us felt poison now. I walked out. Into the humid night. Ryan's apologies chasing like echoes. At the river's edge, I hurled stones into the black water. Each splash a sob for the trust I'd handed over. Shattered. Days blurred into fog. Dad and I circled each other. Words sparse. Wounds raw. He ramped up therapy. Group sessions at the VA, where grizzled vets swapped stories like grenades defused. I quit the coffee shop, took odd jobs, landscaping, deliveries, anything to rebuild walls. Ryan tried. Flowers on the porch, texts like lifelines. I messed up. Let me make it right. I ghosted him, but the ache gnawed love's ghost, haunting. Then the high tide, Evie's trial. Courthouse packed. Air thick with flashbulbs and resentment. She took the stand, tear-streaked, spinning tales of persecuted patriotism. Ryan cross-examined, voice steel. Ms. Cartwright, was the hose an act of defense? Or dominance? She faltered, and under oath, the truth spilled. Years of bullying. A pattern of control masking her own unraveling marriage. Empty nest. The jury deliberated 2 hours. Guilty, 6 months probation. Restitution. Outside, as confetti metaphorical. Rained in cheers from supporters, Dad pulled Ryan aside. I tensed, expecting blows, but instead, you fought for us. Hard. I misjudged. Ryan nodded, humbled. I let you down, sir. Won't again. Their handshake bridged something generational, guarded. And when Dad walked away, he murmured to me, he's yours if you want him, Mace. Just choose wise. The climax crashed that weekend. A Legion barbecue gone wrong. Evie crashed it, drunk and desperate, screaming at Dad by the grill. You ruined me. All because you can't play nice. Chaos erupted. Fists clenched, bystanders intervening. But she lunged, knife from the condiment table glinting. Time slowed. Ryan shoving me aside, Dad tackling her. The blade grazing his forearm, crimson blooming. Sirens again, hospital fluorescence harsh. Stitches, 5. Dad waved off fuss, but his eyes, haunted, betrayed the toll. In the waiting room, Ryan and I collided. Accusations, tears, truths. I shared because I was scared. He admitted, voice breaking. Scared you'd see me as just the suit. Not the man who loves you stupidly, completely. I cupped his face, thumbs tracing jawline. And I hid because losing you felt bigger than losing me. We kissed there, fierce, forgiving. Amid the beeps and bustle, a vow reborn. Recovery wove us tighter. Dad healed slow, but with Ryan's help. Pro bono appeals restoring his honors. And my hand in his during checkups, the silences filled. We talked. About Mom's laugh. His unspoken bisexuality glimpsed in faded photos of a squadmate. My fears of impermanence. Love's not a battlefield, Pops, I said one evening, Ryan flipping burgers in the yard. It's the foxhole we share. He chuckled, scarred arm around my shoulders. Damn right, son. Salute to that. Willow Creek softened grudgingly. Evie sold her house, fled to Florida. But scars lingered, beautiful in their map of survival. Ryan and I built slow. Road trips to D.C. for pride, where rainbows drowned doubts. Quiet nights with Dad, 3 generations of Harlans. +1 Keller, trading stories under stars. No grand gestures, just the human hum. Forgiveness earned, love unapologetic. A suburb remade not by hoses or headlines, but by hearts that dared to stand, soaked and unbowed. In the end, the real arrest wasn't Evie's. It was ours, from the cages of convention, into a freedom fragile as dawn but fierce as any flag. The stitches came out on a Tuesday, under a sky bruised purple with autumn's approach. Dad flexed his forearm in the doctor's office. The pink line a badge he'd earned quieter than any medal. "Looks like a snake bite," he quipped to the nurse, who laughed politely while jotting notes. Ryan waited in the hall, thumbing his phone, but his eyes lit up when we emerged, relief plain, mixed with that undercurrent of want we'd both been nursing since the hospital kiss. "All good?" he asked, falling into step as we headed to the truck. "Better than new," Dad replied, clapping Ryan's shoulder. It was a small thaw, but seismic for a man whose affections ran deep but sparse as desert wells. Me? I felt the pull toward Ryan like gravity, his presence a steady orbit after weeks of elliptical doubt. We dropped Dad at home with promises of pizza later. Then Ryan drove me to Alt Park. Leaf-strewn paths and overlooks where the city sprawled like a memory you can't quite place. We walked in sync, hands brushing accidental on purpose, the crunch of gravel a rhythm to our halting talk. "I've been reading up," he said, kicking a pebble, "on family dynamics post-trauma. Your dad's classic avoidant, protects by pulling back." I snorted. "Pot, kettle. You lawyered your way into my heart, then filed for emotional bankruptcy." He stopped, turning me to face him, hands on my arms, gentle, grounding. "Fair. But I'm depositing now. Every day." His kiss was soft, exploratory, tasting of mint and mending. We lingered there, backs against an oak older than the Wright brothers, the world fading to birdsong and heartbeat. Back home, the pizza arrived grease-laden and glorious, Dad portioning slices like a quartermaster. We ate on the porch, string lights flickering against the chill, stories flowing freer than the beer. Ryan shared a gem from his childhood. Catholic school in Philly, sneaking Judy Blume novels under pews, the first stirrings of knowing he liked boys the way the nuns warned against. Dad listened, nodding, then countered with his own. Basic training 95, a bunkmate named Tommy whose laugh cut through the drills like sunlight. "Never said a word about it," he admitted, gaze on the horizon. "But it stuck, like shrapnel you learn to carry." The admission hung, profound in its plainness. Ryan's foot nudged mine under the table. "See? Bridges." I squeezed Dad's knee. "Carrying's heavy, Pops. Share the load." He met my eyes, the blue depths softer now, and for the first time, I saw not just the soldier, but the survivor, vulnerable, vast. Starting to sun. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting streets like confetti from a parade long past. Ryan's case wrapped with a bang. Settlement from the HOA, $50,000 for community reconciliation, funneled into a vet support fund Dad would chair. Press swarmed again, but this time benevolent. Hero Dad, son find justice in Heartland drama. Evie vanished into obscurity, her McMansion a for-sale eyesore. Life normalized, or what passed for it. My new job at a nonprofit aiding queer youth. Ryan's nights tangled with mine in his loft apartment overlooking Fountain Square. Dad's garage band of misfits. Other vets swapping tools and tales over coffee. But normalcy's a fragile truce. Cracks showed at Thanksgiving. Ryan's folks flew in from Boston. Progressive academics, all hugs and pronouns, but Dad's invite hung awkward. "Don't want to cramp your style," he grumbled over turkey prep, basting the bird like it owed him answers. I pressed, "Styles family, Pops. All of it." He relented, showing up in his best button-down, bearing pie from the diner. The meal crackled with undercurrents. Ryan's dad quizzing Dad on service stats, Mom gushing over my pin collection. Dad held court quietly, anecdotes landing like well-aimed rounds, humorous foxhole fumbles, the absurdity of MREs. But post-dinner, as we cleared plates, Ryan's mom pulled me aside. "He's smitten, dear, but that father of yours. Steady influence. Her tone dripped concern, the kind that masquerades as care. I bristled. Steady as they come. Saved my life more times than I count. Later, alone with Ryan in the kitchen, suds bubbling, I vented. They see you slumming it with the Ohio rubes. He dried a glass slow. Or saving me from ivory tower ennui. Mace, they're thrilled, mostly. Dad even said you're grounded. High praise. We laughed. But the seed lodged. Class chasms, urban polish versus suburban grit. Did I fit his world? Or was I the scenic detour? Winter bit hard, snow blanketing Willow Creek in hush. Ryan's firm offered a transfer DC, bigger cases, queer rights on the hill. Come with, he urged one night, body spent and tangled in sheets, city lights filtering through blinds. We'd kill it there. You, me advocacy duo. Temptation bloomed. Escape the stairs at the grocery, build something bold. But Dad's face flashed. Alone in that house, echoes louder without us. Need to think? I hedged, tracing his collarbone. The think stretched, fractured by a call. Dad's viaduct, flagging a dip, sleepless nights, shadows lengthening. I rushed home, found him on the couch, TV droning infomercials, eyes hollow. Just tired, he lied. But the pill bottle on the side table, sleep aids half empty, told truths. We talked till dawn. The leaks echo Evie's ghost, his fear-eyed bolt like Mom's spirit. You're all I got, Mace, he whispered, voice raw. Don't fade on me. Guilt gnawed. Ryan understood, sort of, postponing the move, but tension simmered. Balance, babe, he'd say. But his texts grew clipped. Weekends in Columbus for depositions stretching longer. Paranoia whispered. Using again? I buried it, focusing on Dad, driving him to sessions, cooking meals that stuck to ribs, introducing Ryan to fishing at the Little Miami, where casts and catches mended more than lines. Spring thawed secrets. Package arrived, anonymous, postmarked Florida. Inside, photos grainy but damning. Ryan at a bar last month, arm around a colleague, lips close in what looked like more than strategy. Heart in throat, I confronted him at his office, pics splayed on the desk. Explain. His face drained. Networking event. Harmless flirt, work stress, post-move talk. Nothing happened. But the lie lingered in his averted eyes. Trust me, he pleaded. I walked, fury fueling the drive home. Dad waited, piecing it from my silence. Men are fools, son. All of us. His hug anchored, but the rift with Ryan yawned. Calls ignored, his apologies voicemails a vapor. Betrayal's sting echoed the hose's spray. Cold, unforeseen, soaking to bone. Yet love stubborn. Ryan showed up at dawn, eyes red-rimmed, flowers wilting in fist. I screwed up, flirted to feel wanted, stupid, selfish. But you're it. Always. We argued on the porch, voices rising with the sun. Dad watching from the window like a sentinel. Finally, exhausted, I pulled him close. Prove it. No more half-truths. He nodded, vow sealed in salt-streaked kiss. Summer circled back. Anniversary of the incident marked with a quiet cookout. Neighbors invited. Fences mended over brats and beans. Dad raised a toast. To salutes that matter, the ones to each other. Ryan's hand in mine. Dad's arm around us both. The circle complete. But DC loomed, decision pressing. The climax brewed in July heat. A reunion at the Legion Hall. Old squadmates of Dad's rolled in. Leather vests, stories scarred as skin. Turning the picnic into a rowdy wake for lost years. Ryan fit seamless, trading barbs over brews. But as night fell, bonfire crackling, one vet, grizzled Uncle Ray, pulled me aside. Your man's solid, kid. But watch the city lights. They blind ya to home fires. His words fermented doubt. Later, as embers glowed, Ryan knelt by the flames. Ring box glinting. Simple band, silver promise. Marry me, Mason. Build with me, here, there, wherever. Gasps rippled. Dad's eyes wide. Joy surged, but so did terror. Leave Pops? Drag him east? Yes. I breathed, slipping it on. the weight right. But betrayal's shadow struck final. A call from Ryan's colleague, tipsy confession at a firm party. He mentioned the ring, but he's hedging the move. Thinks you'll bail for family. Hedge. The flirt wasn't isolated. It was symptom. Commitment cloaked in caution. Heart fracturing. I drove to the river alone. Ring heavy as anchor. Dawn found me there. Resolve hardening. Love demands truth, not traps. Confrontation came gentle at Ryan's loft. I heard, I said, box extended. About hedging. The colleague. His denial crumbled fast. Tears, admissions. Fear of small-town stasis. My ties as chains. I love you, he sobbed. But this place, it's killing the fire. Killing. The word severed. Then go, I whispered. Find your blaze. I'll tend mine. He left for DC a week later. Amicable split, friends in aftermath. Pain lanced, but clarity bloomed. Love isn't possession, but release. Fall again, Dad and I stronger, therapy tandem, his story's mine now, bisexuality a thread in our tapestry. Not tear. Willow Creek whispered less, accepted more. I dated casual. A mechanic with tattoos, a teacher with poetry. But heart mended slow, room for more than one. One crisp November eve, package from DC. Letters, bundled, Ryan's script. For the book, note read. Inside, our story. Drafted, raw. A memoir of hoses and hearts. Publish it. For us, I did quietly, royalties to the fund. Reviews called it, "A American Elegy to Flawed Valor." Dad read it first, handing back with nod. Proud son. Of all of it. We sat porchside, stars winking, the swing creaking like old bones content. Humanity's arc bends slow. Kisses stolen, salutes silent. But in the bend, we find grace. No arrests, just arrivals. To self, to kin, to the loves that linger, unsoaked. Winter's grip loosened grudgingly that year, ice dams dripping like reluctant tears from the eaves of our split level. The memoir dropped in early January, unsalted. A veteran's son in suburbia, under my byline, Ryan's contributions ghosted to protect his rising star. Launch was low-key. Reading at an indie bookstore in Clifton, folding chairs scraping linoleum, a handful of locals braving the slush. Dad sat front row, program clutched like a field manual. His presence ballast against the nerves knotting my gut. I read the hook. The hose scene, voices echoing off exposed brick. And the room leaned in, breaths held. A vet in the back wiped his eye. A mom with a rainbow tote nodded fierce. Q&A flowed. How's your dad now? Healing, one cast at a time. Dad stood then, mic awkward in his paw. This boy's tougher than I ever was. By the damn book. Laughter rippled. Sales spiked. Reviews trickled. Kirkus praised the raw humanism. The Atlantic, the quiet thunder of queer Midwestern resilience. Royalties hit steady enough for Dad's ramp upgrade. A dream trip to the Grand Canyon. Ryan texted congrats. Knew you'd shine. I replied neutral, thanks. Thriving. The scar tissue flexible now, not festering. Spring greened Willow Creek tentative. Tulips pushing through mulch like hopeful interrogatives. My nonprofit gig bloomed. Coordinating panels on coming home. Vets and identity. Where Dad keynote, his gravel timbre disarming skeptics. One event, a burly ex-Marine named Ellis cornered me post-talk. Your old man's got stones. You too, that pin? Respect. His handshake lingered. Calluses kindred. Hazel eyes sparking something dormant. Coffee led to hikes, hikes to dinners, easy, unhurried, the kind of courtship that unfolds like a well-packed parachute. Ellis was salt of earth. Divorced, 2 girls in college. A welder by trade with hands that built rather than broke. No drama, he said over ribs at Montgomery Inn, sauce-staining napkins. Just real. Real felt revolutionary after Ryan's fireworks. Conversations deep as creeks, not oceans. Touches sure, not electric. Dad vetted him subtle. Inviting for Sunday football, grilling technique masked as small talk. Treats you right, he'd ask post drop-off. Like gold pops. but gold's assayed in fire. Evie's ghost resurfaced Memorial Day, a blog post from her new life in Tampa. Exposed. The HOA witch hunt that destroyed a patriot. Lies layered thick. Dad the aggressor. Me the instigator. Ryan the puppet master. Shares surged on conservative feeds. Our door egged. Calls anonymous. Freaks go home. Dad shrugged it off. Water under the bridge or hose? But Ellis tensed, protective. Want me to handle it? His fists balled. A night in Carhartt. I waved it down, but the undercurrent pulled. Panel that week. Queer vets, packed house. Turned ambush. Heckler in the crowd. Bullhorn blasting Evie's screed. Chaos. Shouts, security hauling him out. Dad on stage, mic hot. Son, this why we fight. Not for flags, but folks like us, standing tall. The room erupted. Applause drowning venom. Ellis, in the wings, pulled me into a bear hug. Your family's fierce. Summer sizzled. Tensions coiling. Ryan's orbit brushed close. Invite to a DC fundraiser. As friends, networking gold. Temptation tugged. Old sparks. Professional boost. But Ellis's steady gaze grounded. Go if you need. He said, no jealousy, just trust. I declined. Choosing creekside picnics, his daughters visiting, bright teens with dad's wit, quizzing me on stars over Esmores. You're cool, Mason, the elder said. Not like mom's dates. Cool. I take it. July 4th dawned muggy. Fireworks prepped in backyards like omens. Our block party, tentative olive branch, buzzed. Grills smoking, kids chasing sparklers. Dad manned the cooler, stories drawing a crowd. Ellis flipped burgers, apron reading Kiss the Cook with ironic flair. Ryan texted mid-afternoon. In town. Meet? Heart stuttered. Closure? Curiosity. I slipped away. Meeting him at the park overlook, skyline hazy. He looked polished, suit sharp, stubble groomed. But eyes shadowed, DC grind etched. Missed this, he said, handing a coffee. Talk meandered. His promotion? A new beau vague. Fleeting, my book tour snippets. Then, raw. Ellis seems solid. Happy for you. Happy. The word bridged, not burned. He is. But you were the fire. We hugged goodbye. Brothers now, not lovers. His whisper. Keep burning bright. Fireworks boomed as I returned. Ellis's arm slinging easy. All good. Yeah. Ghosts exorcised. Dad caught my eye across the lawn, not approving. That night, under starshell bursts, Ellis kissed me slow. Promise, not possession. Love remade. Fall harvested bounty. Book club invites. Ellis's proposal over cider in the orchard. Simple. Neon leaves. Build with me, Mace? Ring wood inlaid. Fitting like fate. Dad walked me down the aisle. Courthouse steps. Rainbow boutonnieres. His toast. To love's that stick, like mud on boots. But winter whispered warnings. Dad's checkup flagged shadows, lungs from burn pits long ago. Manageable, Doc said, but the word hung. We rallied. Second opinions, support groups, Ellis's hand steady in mine. Ryan sent care package, books on resilience, note. Fight like Harlan. Unity unexpected. Springs renewal tested. Dad's decline accelerated. Chemo a gauntlet. I balanced bedside vigils with work. Ellis anchoring homefront. Meals prepped. Girls visiting with cheer. You're heroes. Dad rasped one dusk. Our hands linked. Both of ya. Climax crested Memorial Weekend. Anniversary of the hose. Dad rallied for the cemetery rite. Flags on graves. Taps wailing. He placed one on Mom's stone. Then ours future plot practical man. No regrets, he murmured. That night, fever spiked. We rushed him, halls echoing like foxholes. Waiting room limbo, Ellis pacing, me numb. Ryan called, instinct? Offering, fly in. No, but thanks. Dawn broke with news. Stable but time short. We gathered family patchwork. Stories till he slept. Last words to me. Proud son. Salute. Yourself. He slipped quiet June morning, birdsong eulogy. Funeral pact. Vets in ranks, Willow Creek humbled. Ellis's vow renewed in the grave's shadow. Till the end, and after. Summer mourned soft. House echoing but filled. Ellis moving in, his girls claiming rooms. Book 2 brood. Echoes unsaluted. Dad's voice woven. Ryan reviewed, masterpiece. He'd beam. Humanity heals in layers. Betrayals bandaged. Love's layered. We stood, unsoaked, saluting the dawn. Grief's geometry is jagged, angles sharp as shrapnel, no straight lines to solace. Dad's absence carved hollows in the house. His armchair sagging empty, garage tools rusting silent, the porch swing idle without his weight. Ellis filled edges, not voids. Mornings with coffee black as his humor, evenings with takeout and his daughter's video calls. Laughter a bomb on burns. But nights were mine. Wrestling ghosts in the dark, Dad's gravel voice replaying. Steady, son. The will read simple. House to me, truck to a nephew, memoirs rights shared with the fund. Proceeds poured, enough to quit the non-profit grind. Launch a consultancy. Harlan Heritage. Workshops on vet legacies. Queer family dynamics. Clients trickled. Churches seeking inclusion primers. Korsman writing biopics. Ellis welded supports, literal for adaptive homes. Figurative, for my resolve. You're forging, babe, he'd say. Arc light flashing like approval. Summer sweltered, marking 6 months. Ryan's visit. Unannounced, suitcase in tow, stirred sediment. Sabbatical, he explained over porch lemonade. Eyes tracing my ring. Needed Ohio air. Air thick with what-ifs. We walked the block, reminiscing the hose spot. Now a community garden, flowers defiant. He'd hate the weeds, Ryan chuckled. I nodded, throat tight. Dinner that night. Ellis grilling, easy host, no undercurrents. Yet, talk turned policy. Ryan's hill wins, my grassroots gains. Bedtime found me torn. Ellis in our room. Ryan on the couch. Loyalties a tangle. Morning clarified. Ryan cornered me in the kitchen. Seeing you settled. It's right. But if... No. I cut gentle. Your family, not fate. Hug sealed it, fraternal, final. He left with plans for holiday visits, the door clicking like a period. Fall's palette-painted therapy. Group for grievers, where I shared Dad's quips, tears communal. Ellis joined once, his stoic cracking. Lost my brother young. Hates fuss. Like your pops. Bonds deepened. Date nights at the Aronoff. His hands calloused on mine during rent. Understanding humming unspoken. But conflict coiled. Evie's echo, amplified. Her book, Patriot Purged, dropped. Bestseller on right-wing racks. Twisting our tale into martyr myth. Lawsuit loomed. Ryan advised pro bono. Slander goldmine. I hesitated, dragged the scar. But Ellis urged, for Dad's truth. Filing hit headlines. Evie countersuing. Defamation by deviance. Climax brewed in court, Columbus Federal, air stale with precedent. Evie testified venomous. They ruined me. Flag on my soul. Ryan cross. Or your bigotry, ma'am? Her crumble. Emails exposed. Slurs scrawled. Sealed it. Verdict. Our win, her retraction, damages to the fund. Outside, press mobbed. Ellis's arms steel around me. Justice, Harlan style. Winter whispered peace. Holidays with his girls. Tree trimmed in dog tags and pride ornaments. Ryan joined, blended kin, his toast. To unsung salutes. Love, Ellis's, rooted deep. Proposals vow renewed in snow, breaths mingling. Spring sowed futures. Consultancy booming. Book 3 gestating, bridges unburned. Dad's shadow lengthened, not shortened, legacy luminous. Humanities weave, threads frayed, rewoven stronger. We stood, hearts holstered, ready for dawn's drill. The consultancy took root like buckeye saplings, branches spreading tentative then tenacious across the Midwest. Workshops in Dayton basements, webinars from our kitchen table. Ellis converting the garage to office space, welds gleaming under LED. Your empire, he teased, handing tools, his kiss salt-tinged from sweat. Clients warmed. A Louisville church hosting its first Pride potluck. A Fort Wayne vet penning letters to his uncoming-out self. Royalties from Echoes padded the pot. Enough for a cabin up in Hocking Hills. Getaway of gravel roads and greedy quiet. Evie's retraction splashed small. I misspoke, Harlan heroism honored, buried in back pages. She faded to podcasts, voice shrill in echo chambers. But Willow Creek exhaled. Neighbors nodded warmer at mail calls. The garden thriving with volunteer hands. Kids planting marigolds where water once flew. Ryan's sabbatical stretched, DC disillusion souring. Bureaucracy's a bitch, he confessed over video. Backdrop Capitol Dome mocking. Miss the mud. Mud. Ohio shorthand for authenticity. He visited monthly, crashing our couch, debates over bonfires. Policy versus people, abstractions versus aches. Ellis ribbed him gentle. City boys gone country. Ryan grinned. Contagious. Summer's heat hatched plans. Wedding proper, not courthouse clip. Backyard affair, June 27. String lights, wildflowers, 50 souls. His girls as attendants, Ryan best man. Vows exchanged under the oak, Ellis's eyes misting. You're my steady mace, in foxhole or fair weather. Rings renewed, kiss sealing amid cheers. Dad's flag draped a chair, symbolic seat, salute eternal. Fall harvested highs, consultancy contract with VA Regional, training modules on identity integration. I keynote in indie, voice steady, Dad's ghost co-piloting. But undercurrents stirred. Ellis's cough, persistent, dismissed as sawdust. Allergies, he waved, but doc visits loomed. Winter bit with biopsy. Early, treatable throat from years welding fumes. Like your pop's lungs, he joked, but eyes grave. Chemo scheduled, routine ruthless. I rallied. Meal trains from neighbors, Ryan flying in for scans. Ellis fought fierce, bald head defiant, humor his helmet. Bald and bold. He'd quip, my hand in his through nausea nights. Climax crashed spring. Complication, pneumonia secondary, ICU haze. Machines beeped dirge, family vigil. His girls sobbed stories. Ryan paced prayers. I whispered vows renewed. Fight. Love. We got tomorrows. He rallied, extubated weak but wicked. Missed my face. Recovery crawled. Summer in rehab, walks with Walker, my arm anchor. Consultancy paused. Heart prioritized. Ryan's network hooked top specialists. Willow Creek rallied funds, freezes, freezer meals. Love's lattice held. Fall's foliage framed fragility. Wedding anniversary in the cabin. Ellis frail but fierce. Stars our canopy. Worth every scar, he murmured, fingers laced. Winter wove warmth. Clear scans, hair sprouting silver. Consultancy relaunched hybrid. Ellis consulting from home. Adaptive designs for vets. Ryan's big ask. Join my firm? Queer Vets Division, Ohio branch. Tempted scale, impact, but rooted. Here. Grounded. Humanity's pulse. Beats irregular. Resilient. We saluted unbowed. The Ohio branch bloomed from that refusal. Ryan's concession to roots. My consultancy folding in as partner. Joint ventures. Keller-Harlan Initiative. Blending law and legacy. Panels packing houses from Cleveland to Cincy. Ellis designed the logo, interlocked eagles, rainbow filigree. His hands steady again, tools extensions of will. Symbolic, he said. Unveiling over dinner. Girls home for break. Toasting with sparkling cider. Years layered like shale. 20s blurring to 30s, scars silversmithing strength. Evie's final gasp. A failed congressional bid, drowned in scandals, closed her chapter. Willow Creek evolved. HOA bylaws rewritten. Pride flags fluttering beside stars and stripes. The garden a memorial plaque. In honor of George Harlan. Salute to service, heart, home. Ryan settled local. Lofton over the Rhine. Dating a barista with tattoos and tenacity. Full circle. He laughed at our annual barbecue, arms slung casual. Ellis grilled. banter flowing. Don't poach my mechanic tricks. Family, fractal. My 40s found focus. Book 4, Salutes Unseen, Anthology of Voices. Vets Queer and Kin, Dad's Letters Anchor. Launch in DC, Ryan hosting, Full Circle Irony. Stage nerves quelled by Ellis's text. Knockem, Harlan. Applause thundered. Signings stretched dawn. Home anchored. Cabin expansions, his girl's wedding in our yard, brides beaming, Dad's flag waving. Grandkids toddled. Tiny hands on tools, stories seated. Conflict crested soft. Ellis's retirement nudge, lungs whispering quit. Travel? He proposed, map unrolled. Europe, Asia, adventures undelayed. I balked, commitments piling but yielded. Sabbatical, consultancy on autopilot. Climax in Paris. Sane stroll, Eiffel aglow. Cough returned. Insidious. Scans stateside. Late. Aggressive. Time. Docs tempered. Cherish. We did bucket list blitz. Yellowstone geysers, Kyoto blooms, home porches with pies. Ryan co-piloted. Girls orbiting. Last breaths in our bed. His girls flanking. My hand is harbor. Loved you steady mace. Always L. Grief redux but textured, love's ledger balanced. Funeral lakeside. Ashes scattered where we fished first. Eulogy mine. He built bridges, not walls. Saluted with hands that healed. Aftermath. Consultancy rebranded Harlan Keller Ellis. Legacy living. Ryan and I co-chair, his bow joining board, tapestry tightening. 50s silvered. Grandkids querying Dad's wars. My pin's pride. Cabin calls, stories spun under quilts. Ryan's wedding small, ours officiating full loop. Humanity's coda. Not grand finale, but diminuendo. Echoes enduring, salutes silent, hearts unarrested. In Willow Creek's quiet, we stand. Sons, lovers, survivors. Flags furled, but spirits unfurled.